Hi, I'm Nick and this is the TbT channel. Welcome to today's video on the Relum Telly, or as it's sometimes called, the Relum Jelly. Now, before I start this video, I'm just going to warn you, I'm running these varifocals in, first pair I've ever had, and it's kind of weird trying to see stuff. I do have my reading glasses on standby in case I need them, but I'm going to try and work with these. So, how did I end up with a Hungarian 1960s, possibly 70s, piece of crap like this? Well, friends of ours who live locally, we went round there the other evening and had a glass of water with lemon juice in it and ice cubes. Very nice, because it was very, very cold. And we were talking about work, they're retired, and what I do, things like that. He said, oh, I've got an air rifle, it was left here when we moved in, found it in, I think he found it in a cupboard. So he went and got it, and this is it. And I looked at it and I thought, initially, Diana 25, because it looks like a Diana 25, doesn't it? But then I found this little logo on here, then I felt the quality and thought, no, that's a Relum. And it is, it's a Relum Telly air rifle. Now, going back to the Grattan days, to the 80s, to my youth, it may not have been the Grattan catalogue, it could have been Kay's, Freeman's, whatever it was, whatever catalogue your mum had, the Relums were usually in there. They were the bargain ones underneath the Webleys. And I had one of these from very similar circumstances to my friend getting his, in that when we moved one of the times, this was in the shed, and the fellow we were buying the house, an old boy, said, oh, you can have the air rifle. So that was awesome. And today we're going to take a close look at it, and we're going to take it apart. I'm going to try and take it apart. I know I took my one apart when I was a kid, but I can't remember if I managed to put it back together again. So that's going to be fun finding out. But it definitely needs to come apart because of one thing. One thing mainly, I have fired this. We've fired it over the, got a chrono here. It's doing a massive 400 feet a second. But listen to this, if you can hear this. What that noise is the concentric springs. The Relums were famous for having concentric springs inside them, one inside the other, and no spring guide. I've been asked a few times over the last 11 years since TbT started, can I do a kit for it? I don't know. We'll find out today. I'm looking at it, I'm thinking the answer is going to be no. But that doesn't matter. I don't do this to sell kits. I do this because I'm interested in air rifles. And most of you are interested in air rifles. And there can't be more than a few dozen of these left. So it's not a viable financial option. It's just interesting. And that's what we're going to do. And another reason, not only is it making that noise and only doing 450 feet a second, but watch this. Now, I would normally say, don't do this, because the trigger might go off. But you'll see why it's not such an issue with this one, apart from the fact the trigger's got about a 13 kilogram pull on it. If you look at this, remember how I told you how you're supposed to tension the barrel so it just holds its own weight? Look at that. Absolutely no movement whatsoever. It's an actual effort to get it back up that way. So I'm just going to bring that down, pull the trigger, and now it's safe, okay? But that's another reason why it has to come apart. I don't know if it's ever been apart. The screws do look pretty chewed, so I think the answer is yes. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So the Relum, it was made in Hungary by a company called FAG, I believe. I think Relum's just the name of the importer. But they were made in their tens of thousands post-war to try and bring money into Hungary. It was a communist country at the time. So it wasn't built from great materials. It wasn't built very well. It's not a particularly capable air rifle or anything like that. But it is interesting. And the concentric springs, certainly one of the interesting things about it. There are no dovetails on here. So fitting a scope was never an option. And it has a rudimentary open sight setup. So I think the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to grab the camera, bring it into close-up, and we're going to have a look at some of the features on this rifle. The main features of this rifle are The missing bolt from the stock, we'll have a look at that. The year's worth of crud crammed into every nook and cranny. The sights are adjustable for height here at the back, and on the front post moves across, the wedge moves across to allow for windage. On the other side we see the, now this is probably, I mean, we've got the concentric little doodah locking for the, I mean, it's got a screw adjustable breech jaws. That's a good thing. But here, look at this. See what I mean? It's a Telly caliber 4.5. It says so right there. But doesn't that look like jelly? It's because of the font they used. The descriptive font. The T just looks like a J. So that is why it's called jelly. And these holes to the side here, well, that's woodworm. Great, wonderful, lovely. Now that we've done that, we're going to take it apart. Because there's only one stock screw at the front, it shouldn't take as long as it might otherwise have done. And I've just blinded myself. I've actually got the flash on the camera at the moment because I'm under shelter because it keeps raining, but it is brighter behind me than it is in front. So I've tried to fiddle with the settings, and I've put the magnetic screw holder there. I've put the little torch flash thing on the camera as well to help illuminate it, but it's very bright, and every time I look over that way I get dazzled. So if I start staring around like that, you'll know why. So we're taking out the stock holding screws, one at the front, one at the back. It would normally be two at the front, one at the back. And we take off the beautiful woodwork, put that to one side so as to be careful not to damage it. Now look, the dust and the wood sawdust theme continues throughout. Okay, beautiful workmanship. And what I think I want to do next is remove the barrel. So I'm having to sneak up on this. Do you know, that doesn't work. Not yet. They're too new to me. So we're going to swap over to my reading glasses. Joy, I brought the right ones. Right. We're going to, first of all, undo the locking screw. This one locks. Oh, there's all kinds of crud coming out with that. There we are. That's what holds the main screw, the main bolt, I should say, in place. And with that locking bolt gone, machine screw, we can now remove this one. This is going to need a damn good clean. Not sure what it is all over. I think it's whatever was used as the cleaning compound when it was sanded down to get rid of all the rust. That has continued to not be a great thing inside of the gun. We're going to lever that out because it is under some tension from the ball detent. That's interesting. The barrel isn't anywhere near as stiff now, and I've got rub marks there. So it could actually have been rubbing on the stock. And there's an awful lot of rub marks and sawdust inside of there. It could have been that was jamming. Bubsy whirly wub. Slight Tourette's, I'm sorry about that. That was jamming the barrel from coming back up again. There we are. I've pushed that through. The barrel is now free. There is our barrel bolt. The cocking shoe, the faux cocking shoe, now pulls out of that keyway and forwards. And there we have the barrel, absolutely covered in crap. As you can see, my fingers are filthy. Absolutely filthy. So I'm going to put that to one side there, and now I'm going to ogle this. I cannot see a concentric spring inside of that spring, so I'm going to go ahead and say this has been apart. Not only has it been apart, but somebody in their infinite wisdom took the centre spring out, which means because there's no guide in there now, the spring is going into S shapes. We've talked about this before. This is what a TbT kit does. The TbT kit allows the spring to run off the latch rod on a tightly fitting front guide, rear guide, onto the latch rod. It keeps everything free to move, but in a straight line within the gun. Without the guides, it wants to go S-shaped as you compress the spring. And looking at this, I have absolutely no idea what preload we're talking about here. Well, it's not an awful lot. But I am going to pause this video and I'm going to go and get my favourite screwdriver and an hammer. I'll be back momentarily. Really. Okay, I'm back. Now, I would like to apologise if I seem a little bit hesitant and vague about what I'm doing here. But I think this is possibly the first strip down and rebuild video I've done since my surgery, for obvious reasons. And it's coming on very well. Thank you very much for all those that are asking. The physio's doing good. So it's been a few months, March, actually, when I had the surgery. So it would have been February, I think, the last time I did a strip down video. So it's kind of finding my way, which is why I'm doing it with this one. Because the next video I'm doing is going to be the HW80. I'm going to be making that after I finish this one. And the HW80, in case anybody's interested, I keep getting asked for a low power plinking kit. Okay, so because we currently do a short stroke target kit, a 17 foot-pound and a 20 foot-pound kit. People want a sub 12 foot-pound non-short stroked easy to cock kit just for in the garden. I'm not a fan of the idea myself, but I'm going to see if I can do it. At least I think I'm going to see if I can do it. If I fail, you won't see that video and you'll keep asking, what happened to that? Nah, nothing. So, hey, let's see now. What I'm going to do is I've got a clamp here as well, because I don't know how much we actually have preload wise on this. I am going to use an clamp. And I am going to take the tension from the spring and then push the pin through. So it's just a standard quick grip clamp. Okay, these are what I use for the HW45. For larger guns, I use a sash clamp, which I've screwed a piece of wood onto. If you watch the strip down videos of the large guns, you will see it where it was necessary. So I'm going to take the tension of that spring, so that pin should be free to float out. Put something underneath there to take the weight of that, and I'm putting the support underneath the gun, not the clamp. So when I hit the pin, oh well, there you go, that came out. I don't think I need my favourite screwdriver because that's going to pull out by hand. There. Now we have the spring under tension. So gently, 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 out it comes. That is at the end of its travel. So there we go. That is the rear plug that just has a nipple on it there for the spring to sit inside of. Then we have a spring crudely cut at the end. Looks like one of the Viroc ones that got through the neck. In fact, no, it's badly cut at both ends, so it could be the original. Just going to count the coils. If you want to know how to count coils, normally the pig's tail of the corkscrew there would be touching the next coil up. Where those two touch is number 1, and you count upwards. So this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 37 coils. Oh, it's sticky. I think the stickiness is what's keeping most of the power down. 3mm wire, 37 coils is producing, what was it, 450 feet a second. That's less than 4 foot-pounds with the 177 pellet. The pellets I was using were, period, if nothing else, Webley Flying Scots. So there's the spring. First of all, I'm going to measure the spring across there. Oh, it's 20 millimeters. It's 20 millimeters. We could be in luck. Otherwise, I'm going to have to reuse that spring. Let's see. I need, ideally, 21 millimeters inside of the piston to use one of our premium springs. Now, what have we got gumming up the works here? I don't want to take the trigger unit apart if I don't have to, because I don't like taking trigger units apart. It's not yeah, you know, these aren't record units. It's not a case of take out a cassette and pop it back in again when you're done. These are just, well, there you go, you've taken it apart. It's your problem now. This pin is actually loose on this side. That might be why the trigger pull was so excessive. Just seeing if I can get that to line up. No, I can't. So let's think, Stanning. Right, let's take the trigger blade out. Do or die. Is it going to come out easily, or is it going to put up a fight? It's going to come out easily. There's my trigger pin. Now, got to be very careful to take a note of what happens when I take this out now, because there's a spring there, and the spring is just sat on top of that blade, and that is all there is apart from the sear. So that goes onto the top of the trigger holder, that goes underneath the sear to lift it. That is fairly straightforward. There's two moving parts. Put that there. Can I now lift the sear? I can. If I lift that sear, I should be able to push out the piston like that. Oh, this is nasty. Get some tissue paper. Oh man, that is grim. Could be dog shit. It could be, actually. Now, there is our piston. I want to show you something here. I just want to show you this. At the fore end, what you can't see and what I can see is that, look how thick that is with grease. I mean, you can write your name in it. That's going to be gumming things up. People in the 80s, we thought grease was great because it quietened everything down, but in fact all it was doing was gumming the action up, reducing power, not particularly doing anything good at all. We've got a leather piston seal on the front of there, and as always, almost always, it's absolutely fine. Leather pistons rarely need replacing. What they need at most usually is sitting those down in some oil for 24 hours just to rejuvenate them. This one hasn't even gone dry, but I am going to sit it in oil for a short while. Just realised the sun's coming out behind me. That could mean that I now look like an IRA informer on the 9 o'clock news. My face is darked out. I'm sorry if that is the case. I will try my best to make this bright enough to see in the edit. But what I'm going to do now is I am going to, now that's interesting actually, before I go away, this part here appears to have a keyway onto that, and if that is the case, I do want to remove that. No, that's not coming off. That's not coming off. I'm going to leave that. Right. What I'm going to do, first of all, is I'm going to measure the internal diameter of the piston. 21.5 millimeters. That is what I need for one of my springs to work. The next thing I need to know which kit to use inside of here is the internal depth. Now, feeling across the bottom, in fact I can see the bottom there, it's flat. So the internal depth using the probe of my 139 mil. 139 mil. So I can get a full 34 coil spring inside of this with 25.3 millimeter piston. Hopefully this is 26, 25.9. An HW95 maxi kit should fit in this. Should. An HW95 maxi should fit inside of a Relum Telly. When but I don't want a 34 coil kit because this is a junior to medium at best. So I think I'm going to start off with one that has the correct preload, and I'll possibly be happy with whatever power that produces. So I need to get some cleaner onto this, and this is going to be a long job. I expect it's going in the washing machine. Tumble dryer, no, dishwasher, because everything is covered in crud. It's not really, my wife would go mad if I did that, but I'm going to get the degreaser. I use the spray brake and carburetor cleaner, any brand will do. So I'm going to get this all cleaned up, and then we'll come back, we'll see what I found to fit inside of it. That nubbing could be an issue, couldn't it? We'll see what we find to go inside of it, and then we'll be back. Much has happened since last we spoke. Maybe not from your side, but definitely from mine. I have cleaned the crud off the outside and inside of the piston. I haven't polished it. Polishing it's going to be difficult because of that nub in there. I would normally put it in the lathe, spin it up with some emery and polish it. I'm not going to bother. I have degreased the inside of the compression tube, and I have cleaned up all the crud and crap off of the barrel and cocking arm. So now we're going to put it back together, which is exciting. I've also put some, while I've been doing the rest of this stuff, about an hour it's had, just with it. I've got some Rostoff Plus here, okay. I just put a small dribble of that onto the piston seal, and it actually absorbed in, and you might be able to see that it's puffed up a small amount, which is what I want it to do. Ideally I'd leave it overnight. I don't have time for that. So what we're going to do, oh, and also you remember me saying about the butt plug, the plug that goes at the back and holds the spring in, it had that nubbin on there. It wasn't going to work with our guides because the guide would have been sat onto there. So what I did was got rid of that nubbin. If you want to fit one of these kits, you will need to do that. The way I did it was, because we've got that raised lip around the edge there, I used the raised lip to secure it into the jaws of the lathe. Lathe, it's a difficult word to remember. Into the lathe, but I set it back in. So I mean, it was secure in there and it felt very secure, but I set it in so if anything happened, it was within the jaws. Then I simply drilled down there, and then I brought it out and just went across to smooth it afterwards. So now the kit is able to sit onto that section there. And as for the kit, this is a Virarc HW95 Maxi UK kit, which is the 31 coil spring. And if we compare that to what came out of it with the spring guide as well, you can see we're almost the same length, very slightly less, but 34 should fit. So if you were wanting to try one of these kits, first of all, I'm not going to be listing them as a separate item on the website, certainly not for the moment. You could just buy an HW95 Maxi UK or Maxi Export kit off the website and fit it, but I would rather you email me or ring me and we'll have a chat about it first, because you do need to do that, and I do want to know people's results. So if you ring me or email me, special offers will be available while we do some testing. Not that there's going to be many people who've got a Relum Telly that they want to spend money on, but you never know. So this is just a standard TbT 95 kit, and what we are going to do now, I have got a fresh pot of bum slide because my other one, I've used one pot since October. All those videos I've used a pot. I haven't even used all of it. It's just it's looking a bit sad and sorry for itself now. So I'm going to move that there, open up my little pot of bum slide, and what we are going to do is we are going to put some bum slide around the front, that much, around the front of the piston. Okay, just around there. Most of the front of the piston is going to be supported by the leather washer, which you can see now. I've put more on it, it's swollen up again. It might be a bugger to get it back in there. The rest of it, the rest of the bum side, a small amount more, we're going to put around the rear of the piston, because there is actually, it's got a swollen end, sir. and the swollen end is all that will make contact. Just checking it didn't narrow further down inside the piston. That would have been funny, wouldn't it? Is all that's going to make contact with the walls of the compression tube. So just a small amount around there. Now the bum slide itself, it is just a molly, same as you would use from anybody else, but with much higher molybdenum content, and a couple of carriers in there to make it sticky, and they're non-oxidizing, so it reduces dieseling. Now we have that. We are going to pop him into the gun. It's a snug fit because we have swollen the piston seal, and that was just with a small amount of that. Let me just grab it by the centre. I was just testing, you know, I said I haven't done this for a while. Yeah, that. Right. What you need to do is first of all get the leather seal into the piston. It needs a bit of manipulating with your nails or a small screwdriver or something to get it in all the way around. If you put the bum slide on the piston before doing that, you get your hands covered in bum slide. So the seal is in the piston. It's a nice tight fit because the oil did its job. I then rub a small amount of that around the front of the piston there, and then a slightly larger amount into the back section of the piston, the flared skirt. Now I'm being a little bit more generous than I might otherwise be with this, because I know this is going to be going back to Bruce. There's a good chance this will never ever come apart again. So it's not a dollop. I mean, we're still talking at a fingertip, but this stuff will last forever. So this will give it the best chance of surviving. So that is on there, and now that just needs pushing down inside of the compression chamber. Don't want to get too greasy, so manipulate the keyway into that slot, push him down there, and then we shall again a bit more manipulation as it's got to the keyway for the if I take it back a small amount, it's got to the section where it would go for the cocking shoe to go into, and what I want to do is just take it back a very small amount so that I can push the front of it down so it clears, because leather is a natural seal and it wants to do its own thing. So just slowly forwards and past that point. It's a little more tricksy than synthetic, but entirely doable. And in the realistically, in the real world, they will last longer than a synthetic one. Bizarrely. So what we need to do next is put our kit in. Now there is already a slip washer down inside of the piston. It's stuck there with grease. I didn't bother getting it out. I should have done, but anyway, what we want, I'm only using bum slide on this one. Again, normal kits come with normal grease. This is our high molybdenum equivalent, so I'm just going to use this because the chances are it's never going to come apart again. So just a little bit on the front there to help it slip. We don't need any inside of the top hat, simply because it doesn't have a latch rod to go onto, and also because it doesn't have a latch rod to go onto, the spring will bow slightly as it cocks. We'll be able to hear this. It's inevitable. It's the same. I did a Cometer video a short while ago. The Cometer's a good gun, but it doesn't have a latch rod, and because of that it'll always be slightly compromised compared to any gun that does. And I'm not just talking high-end guns, because the, oh crikey, who is it? Is it the CZ? The Slavia 634. Now that's a little East European gun. If you ever get a chance to buy one of those, do it. It's fantastic. Right, so that has got a very thin coat of bum slide all over it. And that will just mean it protects the spring. It will protect it against rubbing against the sides of the piston in use over the years. So now that goes into the piston. The piston isn't all the way home yet. In fact, it might be, caught on the sear. So I just need to lift the seat out of the way. Not using that screwdriver, I need my favourite screwdriver for this job. Ah, now you see, I'm trying to see what is sear and what is not. Could do with a little bit more light on this situation. Let me just sit him there while I have a look at this. Not as much natural light as I would like today. Okay, so that goes there. Use this one here inside the piston. Do that one first. Lift that one up. It's been a while. In fact, this is the first time I've taken one of these apart for maybe 40 years. Ah, gotcha. Got him past there. In fact, we'll use the favourite screwdriver to push it all the way home. Heard that tock. That means it's in place. That goes down inside to there. We still have that much preload, which means I am going to need my clamp to help me put this back together. Now this is at the very maximum of my clamping ability with this one, so being very careful. Keep everything nice and square, pop that into position, find our little pin. That's not the right little pin, use the correct little pin. I've got bum side all over my finger, so I'm just going to give that a nice little rub. Get that into the right position. That looks right. Let's try that. There we go. Tap, tap, tap. Fully home across both sides. So that is there. Next we have our trigger. Now, I didn't clean this. I should have cleaned this. I forgot to clean this. Oh, the bum slidey fingers have worked already. So just a small amount on the rubbing face of this. Now this was a massively heavy trigger, but when I took it apart we saw that the pin wasn't actually in correctly. So I'm kind of hoping that was its major malfunction, and that by doing this we are going to make it all kinds of better. So slide that in, get our pin, give him a little rub with our bum slidey fingers. That's word of the day. Now we need to line everything up here. Might be easier if I line it up on the other side and push it through. Because everything is by eye. Look at that. Now that is working. Good. Next we need to refit our barrel. Now we have a two-piece jointed cocking arm through a tunnel. Anybody recognise that? That's right, HW99. But these don't tend to gall. How have these managed it where Virart can't? Answers on a postcard. I'm going to put some bum slide on the part that slides up against the body there, and I'm going to put just a small amount each side of the ear that slides within the compression tube, and a small amount down there, and anywhere else I think looks like it wants it. Oh, wants it, sir. I don't know if these originally came with shim washers and or shims, but there certainly isn't one now. So quite a generous amount of bum slide on each side of that, like that. Wipe the worst off. I've spotted something else to do, but we'll come to that. Push the faux cocking arm into its keyway. And then we need to put our bolt back in. Now this is going to be fighting against the tension of the gun itself. Bit of bum slide just onto the... Fighting the tension of the detent, but there isn't much tension, so that was okay. That's not the correct screwdriver. That is the correct screwdriver. Knock it down into place. Okay, and the part what I missed, see that rub mark on the top there? I'm just going to put a small amount. You can see it's metal on metal rubbing. So I'm just going to put bum slide there, because that's what bum slide does. It's a high molybdenum content paste that will provide years of metal to metal protection. That is good. Now then, and indeed, now then. I'm not going to put the locking pin in place yet. I'm going to put the stock on first, and I shall show you for why. We need to tension the barrel. I'm just going to clear the crap out of there, actually. Now, here's a potential issue. I forgot to look at this, didn't I? I thought that the issues with the cocking and the barrel being so stiff was to do with the stock. And I'm still not sure that is not the case. So this may be, I'm going to put it back together now, do all the bits I need to do for the video, and then take the stock off and maybe do some work on the inlets and things. But you don't need to see me do that. I will let you know if that is what had to happen. But there is so much crap in here. Probably the holiday homes for all the woodworm in it. That part goes there. This part comes across here. One of these, the one with the crosshead, is the main bolt that goes here. Tensiony. And the other one goes on the side. Now, I only have one of these. I will be searching for a replacement for one or both interplastically. But until such a time as that, we shall make do with the one. I know why there's only one in here. The thread's gone on that side. You try and tension it, it just spins in its socket. That's why there's only one. Come out, you bugger. See, isn't it better when these aren't pre-rehearsed? Action. It's action, isn't it? It's real life. That's better. So we'll put him in there. It's secure on one side. That's enough, isn't it? Now, here we go. First of all, will it cock? Yes. That moves better, but it does need the inletting doing. Let's get one of my Flying Scot pellets. Close that while I open the tin. Open it fully to take the spring tension while I load it. Fire it into my backstop. I can tell you that has not helped the trigger one jot. Not a bit of it. So that's cray. What I'm going to do, pause this momentarily, because I've got to fire from that side of the thing over to there into my backstop to test what feet per second it is doing now. And then we shall come back and we shall see what we think about this piece of East European weaponry. And there you go. All that effort, all that time, and the expense of fitting a kit, we've gained 110 feet a second, 560 feet a second. Fitting a 34 coil spring could get more, but in reality, what's the point? The trigger is still horrific. If you are a Relum expert and you know why this trigger is a 2-finger pull, please let me know, because I would like to get that sorted before I give it back. But other than that, it's an interesting piece of post-war communist Europe weaponry. Let's say weaponry, air rifle. I'm not going to call it anything derogatory, because actually I've got quite a soft spot for them. If one came along for sale, I suggest you buy it, because all your mates will be jealous. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit notifications, and join me next time. Thank you. Goodbye.